Our minds have a significant and wonderful power, but they can also cause us great pain. Have you ever had a nightmare so realistic you thought that it was actually happening to you? You woke up sweating, scared, or even crying. But then you looked around and realized that everything was fine. You were comfortable in your own bed, in your own room. Well, this happened to me on the afternoon of March 10th, except when I woke up from the nightmare, I wasn't in my own bed, in my own room. I was in an ICU bed with a hard mattress. I couldn't move. I was somehow both freezing and overheating, with 2 large tubes sticking out of either side of my torso, with countless wires hooked up to me, experiencing unimaginable pain and discomfort. I didn't wake up from the nightmare. I was living it. Hi, my name is Cappuccitti Gutierrez, this year's middle school prefect. And on March 10th, 2020, I received life-changing spinal surgery. Unfortunately, this nightmare became more of the plot to a dystopian horror movie when I was put under anesthetic with the knowledge that there was a rather intense flu season occurring in China, but woke up to a whole pandemic with the world going into lockdown because of a deadly disease spreading quickly across the globe. When I was 10 years old, I was diagnosed with scoliosis, a condition that curves my spine into an S shape rather than the straight line it was supposed to be. It started out mild, but got increasingly worse, and I started getting pain throughout my back consistently. Not only did my pain levels increase, but my physical appearance worsened. Although to the unsuspecting eye, I looked like a normal teenager with bad posture, in reality, my shoulders and hips were both slanted, and this only grew worse with time. So, after deciding that a back brace was no longer the answer, my surgery was scheduled for March 10th, 2020, which was a super awesome way to kick off my March break. The more obvious my scoliosis became, the more often the jokes came. If I had $1 for every time someone looked at me and rapped the lyrics, "I think my back got scoliosis because I swerved the lane," from Migos and Drake's song, "Walk It, Talk It," and countless other jokes of the sort, I'd be able to pay my own tuition at Applebee. If I'd known how hard the road to recovery was going to be for me, I never would have gone along with or cracked as many jokes about my scoliosis and upcoming surgery as I did. In fact, the reality that I was going to be getting an 8.5-hour surgery on my spine didn't even dawn on me until they put the mask over my face with anesthetic to put me to sleep. Major surgery felt like something that happened to other people, not something that was supposed to happen to me. And yet, there I was, lying in an OR, about to embark on the hardest journey that I will have experienced in my life thus far. I'm going to walk you all through this journey and what it taught me. I woke up early the morning of March 10th in the hospital to prep for my surgery. I don't actually remember the moments leading up to them putting me to sleep, but I can guarantee that the last thing I did was laugh and say that I wasn't nervous, which, might I add, was completely true. In any surgery, there's a risk that something can go wrong, but if my upper tube TED Talk speech is any indication, I live every day like it's my last. I think this mindset has helped me through the worst times in my life, especially in helping me prepare for this one. When I woke up from surgery, it wasn't like the movies. As an adamant Grey's Anatomy fan, I'm basically a doctor, and thought I was beyond educated on what to expect when waking up from surgery. This was a gross miscalculation on my part. Not only did I look significantly less glamorous than the actors on Grey's Anatomy, I felt significantly less glamorous. Instead of waking up to a gorgeous, genius doctor and having a perfect spine and needing a solid 1 episode's worth of recovery time, I woke up in unthinkable pain with 2 of the most uncomfortable tubes coming out of my torso, carrying disgusting-looking lung fluid into a bucket next to my bed with 2 long scars going down my sides. They don't show you that on TV. The lung fluid, the scars, or the nurse that stabs you 23 times in the arm trying to find a vein for the IV drip. At this point, the COVID-19 situation had tremendously escalated, but luckily, Canada hadn't been hit nearly as hard as the other countries. Except, I wasn't in Canada. I was in one of the epicenters for the virus, Spain. ASC spinal surgery is considered too experimental in Canada, and only 5 doctors in the world know how to perform the procedure, one of them being based in Barcelona, so I needed to fly out to receive it. Getting a surgery on your spine is hard. Getting it during a global pandemic is harder. But getting it during a global pandemic in a country that had just beat China out of the #1 spot for the highest number of cases was the hardest. Because of the complete lockdown in Spain, I couldn't do the outdoor walking exercises I was supposed to be doing. I was stuck in my grandparents' relatively small apartment, with the walk from my bed to the bathroom being my daily walk. With the lack of exercise, fluid started building up between my rib cage and my lung. About 3 weeks after my original surgery, I went in for a checkup, and after a routine x-ray, they found the fluid. To be able to access my spine for the specific surgery I needed, the doctors needed to collapse both of my lungs, making this fluid buildup particularly dangerous. I went from a routine post-op checkup to being rushed into emergency lung surgery in a matter of hours. So there I was, yet again, waking up on countless drugs with another big uncomfortable tube coming out of my torso on a floor filled with coronavirus patients. Except this time was worse. I was alone. My mom couldn't be there when I woke up. I don't think I'll ever be able to convey the fear of waking up alone in a dark room, cold, in major pain, not knowing what's happening, and not being able to move or cry because it requires air that your lungs don't currently have. The physical recovery is brutal, but no one prepares you or tells you about the mental side of physical trauma. For those of you who know me, I'm very outgoing. I love to sing and perform. I love public speaking. I'm not afraid to speak my mind, and every teacher who has ever taught me knows that I love to socialize. Not only am I outgoing, but I'm very active. I've competitively figure skated since I was 6 and trained many times a week. Not being able to figure skate, perform, stand up on my own, walk from the bed to the couch, or simply eat took its toll on me mentally. I looked in the mirror one day when I was feeling just strong enough to stand up for an extra few seconds and saw a skeleton looking back at me. Once I realized how far I had left to go in my recovery, everything felt almost useless. What didn't help was the canceling of everything because of the pandemic. I had nothing to want to get better for. Every event that I'd been looking forward to for months was just getting canceled one by one. This is something that I know everybody in this chapel can relate to. I know I wasn't the only one at my lowest during 2020. But why did I bother telling you all any of this? Well, I want to bring you all back to what I said at the beginning of this speech. Our minds have a great power. They can be wonderful tools, but they can also cause us great pain. I had just woken up at 3 a.m. from a recurring nightmare of waking up in the ICU, but instead of actually being there like I had all those weeks ago, I was in my own bed in my own room. I sat up and through the dark saw my big wall of pictures. That early morning at 3 a.m., I studied the pictures carefully. I didn't just see myself posing with people I knew. I saw myself laughing, smiling, dancing with people who mean everything to me. If there's one thing from my story that I want you to take away, it's this. Mindset is everything. I realized that although I had a horrible experience, I never have to go through that day again. Everything that happened is in the past now, and you can only move onwards. You can let a negative mindset overtake you, or you can choose to take everything in stride. You can learn from every bad experience, grow from it. Because maybe tomorrow won't be easy, or the day after either, but you got through today. You got through today, and that's more than enough to be proud of. It isn't an overnight process, though. I still get flashbacks. I still start hyperventilating when I see an IV. I still struggled being in my grandparents' apartment this past summer in Barcelona again, and I still get the ICU nightmares. But we go through situations that challenge even the best of us. And what's most important to understand is that there are so many amazing moments that we haven't experienced yet. So many moments that will make it all feel worth it. I know it might seem bad when you're living it, but if you give in to the bad, you'll never get to the good. Train that mindset to go all in and to hold on, and you'll meet all the people you're yet to love, laugh the hardest you'll ever laugh, sing the songs you're meant to sing, and live through the best days of your life that you're yet to have. Authentic happiness will come, and when it does, it will make everything that you're experiencing right now so incredibly worth it. We don't control our circumstances, only our attitude. And therefore, although terribly cliche, it's true. It's not about how badly you get knocked down. It's about whether or not you choose to get back up. So, to all the middle school students this year, I'd like to remind you all that although this is a big transition point in your lives, whether you just moved to Appleby or you're starting high school next year, you will go through challenging situations. But remember that these moments don't define you, and always choose to get back up. After being fully recovered from my surgery and having a drive to help others experiencing the same thing that I did, I was given the opportunity to become the teen ambassador for Everyday Heroes Kids, a pediatric health startup. I've been able to share my story while being able to help firsthand develop and grow an online platform to make the diagnosis process easier for parents with kids with scoliosis, and make my mark on the world of pediatric health, helping other kids just like me on their own surgery journey, giving them hope that when they've been knocked down, they too can get back up. Thank you. Please rise and sing the hymn, Trees of the Field.